Hey, welcome back, nerds. Afino here with a commentary on the infamous Jaguar Challenge Quest. This one was the hardest one last year, although this year it's really just it's not quite a main course, it's not quite an appetizer. I'm sure there's a term for that, but I don't know it, so there you go. It's a relatively hard fight by Challenge Quest standards, because the way it works is that whenever you hit one of these enemy servants, they change the field, and this year they have a convenient graphic to show which field it is. Last year it was just like the usual stadium. So if you hit Taiga, it becomes a forest, and when a servant's field is up, they gain extra resistance, attack, and NP damage. And in general, these servants also have baked-in card type resistances that are active no matter which field is up. Nobu has Buster resistance, Jean has Arts resistance, and Taiga has Quick resistance. Because of this, your offensive requirements can be fairly tough to balance. I, of course, chose Marie because what am I doing? The good thing about Marie, though, is that she has some strong defensive utility, even though two of her skills don't actually do anything in this fight. So I start things off with a Sacrificial Waver just to get a quick start. I run Scotty. Scotty's not a great servant to bring for this particular quest, as you're going to see, but she does give Marie quite a powerful punch, especially in these early turns. And that's going to pay big dividends. Alright, I have to pop Illusion immediately. That's something I picked up from watching a couple of free-to-play runs. Well, you know, okay, Merlin, right? Free-to-play, what? No, some of the less whaley runs, let me put it that way. Borrowing a Merlin and having him just use Illusion immediately and get Garden of Avalon up is a pretty solid way of staying alive in this fight. Because enemy crits can come in out of just nowhere and bad touch you super hard. Also, once you start breaking bars, the fight enters Phase 2. Phase 2 is where it gets really hard. You see, when you hit a servant with a broken bar, they activate 2 field buffs. If 2 enemy servants have their NPs up at the same time in Phase 2, you can find yourself in a situation where you can't actually, hit a servant to change the field in a way that stops both of them. Because here's the thing, when a servant doesn't have their field up, their NP damage plummets, as you'll see when Jean tries to NP without her field buff. And in fact, you can use this to gain tons of charge, if you can manage enemies properly. But unfortunately, because they have different tick counts on their bars, and I believe both Nobu and Jean have self-charges. Jean definitely does. Oh. Yeah, here I decided to just scum it. I realized I made a terrible mistake. Like, if Scotty goes, that's not the biggest problem for me at this particular juncture. But Marie I need to keep alive, so I opt to use her 2 skills, which don't do anything. I think, well, Taiga is called Jaguar Man on JP. Maybe? No, doesn't work. So, I decided I'm being way too conservative with Marie's skills and opt to just pop Beautiful Princess. It's a very strong multi-hit invuln. And it's going to be decisive in a fight like this. So here in this turn, I get some regeneration rolling. Finally get Garden of Avalon up. It's a very weird front line, but as you can see, I'm making headway. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to force the field back onto Taiga. I'm keeping Taiga in Phase 1 on purpose. Because Taiga is my oh shit button. She is, I would say, the least immediately dangerous of the 3 enemy servants, like on a turn-to-turn basis. And because of this, you don't actually want to pop her bar immediately unless you're using a very specific strat. Nobunaga, though, will hit you extremely hard with her base Buster cards, and Jean can just crit you down out of nowhere. Because of this, it's one good strategy for this fight is actually just to burn down Nobu as quickly as possible and then try to keep Jean like in a similar ballpark to Nobu and finish her off before you focus on Taiga, or even get Taiga to phase 2. Now, if you're going to do this strategy, you need a very strong buster finisher. Because once Taiga is alone in the field, you won't have any way of removing her resistance buff. Thankfully, though, extra cards in Buster Brave Chains will do a fair bit of damage to her. And so if you can get her alone with someone like, say, Kualter or like a Musashi, they can close out the fight. Again, it might be a little close because Taiga can just crit you down to nothing, but it's a solid strategy. Of course, for the more power conscious among you, you could always just run the Arjuna Altar instead. He's a pretty common fixture on support lists with the damage CE, and Arjuna Altar, who was not around last year, trivializes a couple of things in this fight. He can damage all 3 enemy servants, and because of his ridiculously powerful buster crits, he can actually take down servants like Nobu, like in phase 2, or Taiga through her defense buffs. Again, if you're attacking Nobu in phase 2, you probably want her to not have her defense buff up. But like, let's say you tag Taiga just to switch off, and then you could just like Buster Brave Chain Nobu with crits. Arjuna Altar can actually take her out. It's kind of bonkers. I don't know how well lower NP level Arjuna Altars will do in this fight, but I mean, you're relying on Buster crits. You're probably going to be slower without your NP at a high level, but it should still be doable. So here, I get George on the field. Now, I think I made a mistake with team building here. What I should have done is put George towards the end. Well, actually, he is second to last slot, isn't it? I guess the fight just didn't really work out for me in terms of how I'd stacked the deck. But as you can see, Nobu does very little damage when her buff isn't up. And she's also at very low health, so she'll be going down relatively soon. Alright, get Dreamlike Charisma back up. Go for the Marie NP. Another cool thing about Marie. Reduces crit chance, I think. Let me double check that. I'm pretty sure she does. One thing Marie's NP does do, which I forgot to mention, is that it cleanses debuffs on your frontline, which removes the nasty effect from Nobunaga's field buff. I believe she does set you on fire. Yeah, Nobu sets the field on fire every time you hit her in phase 2. And the debuff from doing that can accumulate quite rapidly. Marie sort of makes that a non-issue, which is pretty convenient. And despite my best efforts, George has actually survived. George has survived multiple turns. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tag Taiga just to make sure Jean doesn't blow me up. I guess at this point, I'm probably trying to figure out whether it's worth using that Marie chain, because getting Taiga into phase 2 may actually screw me here. In fact, it would screw me here. So I think I decided to softball it. Yeah, okay, I opt to build Marie's Noble Phantasm and get a level of overcharge onto Garden of Avalon for some extra resources going forward. Ascalon's effect, not really relevant. It's also really slow. What is this, my first Ascalon? Huh. But yeah, I was kind of surprised. Originally, I was just going to do like an Arjuna Altar clear and just upload that being like, hey, it's easy, kind of, sort of TM. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh my god. Everyone and their mother's already done an Arjuna Altar version of this fight. So I was like, you know what, let's mix it up. Quick Servants. Yeah, as it turns out, the combination of a quick AoE attacker to start the fight and a strong single-target buster attacker to finish the fight is a pretty solid strategy. Again, there's a fair bit of RNG, just because, you know, genre attack can just crit you, or Nobu can just buster you in the face. Or they spam their mitigations, because all three of them have either evades or invulns. I think Jean and Taiga have hit-based, and Nobu's is turn-based. So a lot of things can go wrong between that, their self-charges, and the crits. A lot of RNG in this fight. Kind of obnoxious. But yeah, now the problem with this is that they made a change this year, which is that the damage CE no longer drops from nodes, meaning you can't actually have a limit-broken copy of the damage CE and a spare copy. Also, Marie gets popped here by a pretty brutal crit. And I think for a split second whether I should scum it, I decide not to. And this situation is a little awkward because... Oh, okay, that's a little less awkward. Never mind. No, the thing I'm thinking of comes in a little bit. Oh, no, wait, no, it is this part. Okay, so at this point, I'm thinking, alright, Jean is gonna die if she gets hit by anything, but she has her invuln up. So I'm thinking, is there a way I can keep Jean alive? Because I'm not quite sure how it deals with AoE NPs in determining what field is active. So I decide to use Marie's NP second, and I immediately realize I fucked it up, so I scum it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop Marie's NP last, because it'll hit Jean and Taiga simultaneously. But Taiga is the one targeted, so I'm not quite sure how this is going to turn out. But yeah, as I was saying, the situation about not being able to get multiple copies of the damage CE past one limit broken, this is one of the fights where it definitely hurts you, or where it can hurt you. For my part, I decided to run my own Marie with damage CE and to borrow a Coup Alter. Coup Alter is another relatively common fixture, like, well, a relatively common target for people to put the damage CE on in this event. And lucky me! It turns out that Jean's field is the one that's active, which means I can get a nice hit onto Taiga here. So I could use this to just pop her phase 1 bar. Beautiful Princess coming out. It'll keep Marie alive for a while longer, which in retrospect may have been a mistake, because Marie's not going to help me all that much against Taiga, except maybe absorbing hits. But it's the sort of thing where you have to weigh the benefits of having meat shields versus just, you know, getting Buster Brave Chains onto Taiga. Unfortunately, at this juncture, I don't think there is a way for me to keep Jean alive to repeat the trick. And because her NP's up, I say, yeah, probably just to put her out of my misery. Honestly, keeping Jean alive in the late game is not a great idea, because again, her crits are really strong. So instead, I have to just bite the bullet and to sink cards into Taiga, even though she resists them. I use a Buster Start on Jean, which is a mistake. I think I should have started with Ku's quick card. But at this point, I'm still thinking, yeah, started with Buster cards, that's how you play the game. Maybe not in this situation. Alright. Another convenient thing about Ku. His protection from arrows is... Alright, that just happened. Alright, I just opt to deal with it. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe I just didn't want to scum it. It was pretty late at night when I recorded this. So yeah, I'm just playing the lottery at this point. That was pretty unlucky, I gotta say. But yeah, protection from arrows is pretty convenient. It won't actually save you from Taiga's NP, because Taiga's NP has Sure Hit built into it. But again, on normal turns, it'll actually buy you a lot of time, especially if you have multiple servants on the board. Okay, so here I decide to roll the dice again, because it's perfectly possible for Taiga to ping-pong from Ku to Merlin to Ku and kill both of them on the same turn. But I decide it's not really worth popping the invul. I'm going to need that next turn. So I decide to greet it. Taiga is critically low, but I can still lose on this turn. Okay, that order works out for me. Because I have the Atlas Mystic Code, I'm able to pop the invul onto Ku and keep him alive. Taiga pops her evade, which is annoying, but I get a crit, and it doesn't matter. Or failing that, I would have had one more turn to finish the fight. So in the end, it worked out. That said, like if you liked the video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Hope it helped. Peace. Also, streaming today, 3 p.m. Pacific time, so come and watch for a good time.